You are listening to a podcast of the Geek I Media Network. For all of our shows and more, visit geek-io.net. And to help support the network, head over to patreon.com/geekio.
Calling all geeks. Calling all geeks.
Geeking out across the globe. Hold on to your butts. It's the Geek I Show.
The Geek I Show.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to the Geek I Show, episode number 284 of your podcast, The Playground. This is the 28th of February, 2019. I am playing with my chain, CJ.
I'm Raul. I'm totally paying attention. Garza.
I haven't been on the show in a hot minute, but man, I actually have the notes up. It's Rachel.
Both of those.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm here. I'm about to have Marma.
Just make sure not to eat that one piece.
Yo ho.
I hear it takes forever. I'm Josh.
Joining us this week, he, for some reason, keeps agreeing to come onto our show. I'm still not exactly sure why, especially when Dale's not here. However, all right, attack the producer extraordinaire, Bryce Castillo.
Hi. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Bryce.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I mean, the cute one's not even here except for me.
Leave.
No, I'm glad to be back, even if Dale is not around.
we all miss Dale. He is doing his Disney thing.
Even though he's like 100 miles from you.
92 miles. Get it right.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I would walk 500 miles and.
But the thing is, he's doing that Disney thing so often, we don't get to see him anymore. So he's so busy. He's so busy and important. So words. Welcome back.
Try it again, CJ. Tell us how you really feel.
Nope. One take, CJ. You know, that's what they call me.
I mean.
Oh, dude, how you been?
Good. Things have been busy down here. We're getting ready for our big South by Southwest show, and we've got a whole bunch of shoots, and we're making tons of YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff, and it just seems like it doesn't ever stop. But I'm doing okay. I'm actually doing pretty well. I'm glad I could have the night to do a little podcasting with you guys.
Hooray!
Greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to remove some of your sleep so you can come hang out with us.
Thankfully, I'm on a mostly normal sleep schedule now. I don't remember what it was like the last time I was on the show, but I've gotten into a pretty manageable, pretty reasonable cycle now.
Good.
So if you're not doing more important things to hang out with us, does that mean it's podcastination?
Okay, yeah, that's clever. I've gone podcast rogue, and I'm doing your show.
Oh man. So I know we're starting a little bit late, so let's go ahead and begin going on into blink blink.
Gadgets, games, and gizmos.
We're professionals. It's Gadget Games, Gizmos.
The most professional.
Yes, the most. You can see it on my face or something. This is where we talk about the stuff we've been doing. This will be quick. Rachel, what have you been doing?
I am my administration and training bitch.
CJ, can't you see she is growing a human being?
No, she's 3D printing a human being.
I am internally 3D printer. So yes,
You're muted, Josh.
I saw.
I think the last time I was on, we had just announced, and that was like 18, 19 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
something like that. And we're 33 weeks today.
Oh, so you're getting close. You're getting close to popping.
Yeah, it's 6 weeks away. And of course, I've got, coworkers who are 15 and 12 weeks, and they look more pregnant than I do.
Oh, but that's not.
But I'm 6 foot tall, and they're like 5'4".
Yeah.
They have nowhere to go but out.
So I'm like, I've got all this, prime real estate for this child to grow in, and you guys have, a torso this big. So yes, 3D printing, it is a boy.
Oh, congrats.
Was
that what you guys were hoping for?
We were good either way.
Either way, okay. Yeah. But secretly.
And yes, I quote, 2 days before Christmas vacation, after driving Kiara home screaming at the top of her lungs that I had to leave work to drive her home, this better be a boy, honey, because if it's not, somebody's dying, and you're the one that decided the gender. So I might have been hoping for a boy the whole time. But CJ called it at about the 9-week mark when we finally accepted that this was happening. But yes, it 100% is a boy, confirmed again today by sonogram and could not miss. And I am in the last 2 courses of my master's degree for educational leadership. So I am quite literally anything my administration, my AP or principal needs me to do, Rachel, do it. Learning experience.
With
Go.
a master's degree, aren't you more qualified than some administrators at this point? Once you get your master's?
No, the administration here in Florida requires a master's degree.
Yes.
Right, Rich? Yeah. So you can't become an AP or a principal without having your master's degree minimum.
Wow.
It requires a master's degree in some kind of educational field.
I would hope so.
No, you can become a teacher and have a degree in, like, say my associate who's actually a certified teacher. Her degree is in marine biology. She is brilliant. But to become a marine biologist, you have to take a 2-year, basically unpaid internship to get your foot in the door, which when you are getting divorced and have a small child is not an option. So she went and took her teaching certificate exams and got her teaching certificates.
So they don't require you to have a master's to be a teacher. I guess it's different state by state.
In Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts.
I think it's bare minimum of bachelor's, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bachelor, and then you take your certification exams, and then you can become a teacher.
Yeah, like my bachelor's degree is in exceptional student education or special education, so I can teach K through 12. But in order to be in, what is the wording? In field, I have to take the certification exam for the grade levels that I'm teaching. So I'm certified K through 12 for special needs, but then I have a kindergarten through 6th grade certification, as well as reading endorsement and English speakers of second language endorsement. So I can teach all the things right now through 6th grade.
Yeah, that's a lot of hardware.
Yeah. And once I get done with my Florida educational leadership exam certification, I will have that too, and then I'll have my master's degree in educational leadership.
Are you trying to go for an admin job?
I'm trying to get the fuck out of a classroom. Leadership actually opens up AP, principal, and guidance counselor for me. And if I decide to do my crazy psychology stuff, I can go into school psychology as well. So it just opens up other doors and other opportunities. But it gets me away from kids that throw desks. At least with me. Which I'm proud to say I have not had a desk thrown at me since December.
Hey, look at that.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah,
It has been 0 days since the last Velociraptor incident.
right.
David.
No, my Velociraptor is officially moving to Bradenton. As of today, I didn't have my most exciting student in the class today, so I actually like got to teach and do things and have conversations with my students and get work done, which was a nice feeling without somebody walking on my desk.
Man, I don't envy teachers in 2019. Uh, that's a very difficult trade to kind of
And
be
we don't get
in.
paid. We don't get
Right.
paid for half the shit we do.
Right. With I mean, just cell phones alone, um, as their own vector for like disruption in classrooms, I'm sure it must be really difficult for a lot of teachers in a lot of places.
What's
that and-
what's really bad is that my school from 7th to senior, they all have iPads.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
I believe it.
no, like they were given an iPad from the school,
Like school iPads, yeah.
and oh boy, they break those all the time. Like they put VPNs on there, try to get all the free movies, all that stuff, and like
Oh yeah.
we can't block YouTube, so they're there playing gangster rap in the middle of a classroom.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a kid that I have to go to my media specialist at least once every 2 to 3 days and say, wipe him out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll knock him off for the next 3 days because he can't go onto the right sites.
Yeah.
It
It's
is what
tough.
it is.
It seems tough because the rate of consumer technology doesn't seem like it is proportionally brought up. Especially like educational tools and monitoring and tools for someone like yourself who kind of would need to have a little more control over the materials that your students are able to access.
Oh, and mine try to play the game, and I look at them. I'm like, you do realize that your teacher's husband is in computer sciences, right? I know quite a bit more than your previous teachers when it comes to the box that you're sitting in front of and the pad that's in front of you on the table. Don't even.
What's nice is that there is software. There's one called Jamp, which you can actually remote wipe iPads.
Oh wow.
You can put them in lost mode. You can break them pretty much.
Oh yeah,
Because-
I've done it a couple. I've frozen my students' iPads, and I'm like, nope, give me it back. You're done.
Can't behave, you can't have nice things.
Yeah.
I said about that. You shouldn't be on YouTube, and you really shouldn't be watching things with guns in it. Hand it over.
Yeah, for sure. So, in a school, say like one that has iPads, are there any physical books still?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had those launched at me, but no desks.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there's
I've had-
some. Go ahead, Carrie.
I was gonna say I've had a surprising amount of calls where people will call in that their internet is down and their kid's teacher is mad at them because they can't do any of their homework because it's all online. Literally all of their homework is online. None of it is pen and paper. None of it is with a textbook.
Huh.
That's just dumb.
I mean, I can understand an avenue of thought that it's like, well, if you digitize the work, then it would be easier to grade or you'd be able to do some sort of systemization of all that stuff. But
And it's easier on the
Again-
kids ergonomically, but still, like,
sure.
I'm
But-
But here's
surprised
the
that
problem
there's-
with doing things online with everybody. I have what's called a low socioeconomic school that I'm in.
Yeah.
More than 80% of my students at school received free or reduced lunch.
Mhm.
Most of these families don't have computers. And even
Yeah.
when our Title I department is able to furnish computers for students, these parents can't afford internet.
Yeah.
So
And it's not like internet's exactly gotten cheaper. I mean, there are options, but with how more advanced, what we can consider the web today, your internet needs have gone up to where if you're on like old broadband, you would still have a pretty bad experience. A lot of these sites aren't used to people not having great internet sometimes.
Yeah. And specifically, there's 3 sites that we use. Well, technically 4, because you've got to log into one to get to the other 3. But the 3 sites that we use are bandwidth sucking beasts.
Bandwidth and resource.
So, damned if you do, damned if you don't for some of these kids. So it's getting them on the computers in class. And I actually send home on occasion the paper side of things, because I'm like, hey, you did this, and this today on these programs. These are the follow-up things that go along with it. Go.
Yeah.
And the odds of it coming back for my students are like, but at least I'm giving them the opportunity to look at these things and see what they're supposed to be understanding.
Yeah. That's man, that's especially rough, and that divide, that like internet divide of, students and districts that generally can and cannot afford, an acceptable level of internet.
Yep.
That divide's not going to get better anytime soon. The major telecoms are not going to have a change of heart and decide that they, need to be more accessible, because that there's no
They
need for
don't
that.
care.
Oligarchies.
Yeah, though my work does offer reduced price internet for low income people. It's just a matter of finding out that it exists. Hey, if you're listening to the show and you are not able to afford your internet, ask about options, because they exist and you might qualify for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding them. But most of these parents don't want to do the follow through either. It is what it is. But yeah, the reason why I have disappeared is because I literally have gone nonstop. I've been at work until 6 and 7 o'clock at night. Sometimes CJ's home before me. It's kind of crazy, considering he's out the door at 5 o'clock in the morning and not home until 7 o'clock at night usually. Sorry, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm supposed to be at work from 7:30 till 3:05. And I'm not getting home till 7 o'clock at night. So, yeah.
Like grading or like after school stuff?
I am doing tutoring 2 days a week. I am doing administration, paperwork, and setting up for our Florida state exams. I am organizing groups for our special needs kids for testing based on their IEP requirements. I am setting up the rooms for these IEP requirements, and whatever they need me to do, I'm there doing. Because I need 120 hours to finish my master's program for field experience. So that's why I've not been around, because I even stepped down from doing Monopool, which I miss doing. Although,
we don't call it that anymore.
Oh, sorry, Exploding Dice.
Miss MGM.
Well, listen, if anybody should not be forgetting the name.
Yeah,
the one
the
that named
person
it.
who made it.
It's the one that named it. So yeah, that's been my life, and growing Spawn, who's now somewhere about 4 pounds 9 ounces and still has 6 weeks to incubate.
Ruminate.
Who's beating the hell out of me right now? Because gummy bears.
Sugar.
Gummy bears and chocolate milk. I'm a great mom. For punishment.
That's the real reason he hasn't been letting you eat this entire time, is just to make you desperate.
I'm pretty well there. Although he let me eat dinner tonight, which was a nice change.
Yay.
So I get to pick the next person. Who do I want?
Who's your victim?
What?
What?
Josh, what have you been up to?
Having a breakdown. I mean, no, it's been
1 week.
It's been a week here at the Robot House. A little more exciting than we usually like it in the not fun ways. But I won't go into too much detail on that. We're still trying to get the garage sorted out for our upcoming Tesla install.
Oh, you guys got a Tesla. Ooh,
Tesla panels for our house.
Oh, nice. With the home battery.
The backup batteries, yeah. That's why we got to get the garage cleared up a bit so that there's actually room to get them in and installed on the wall.
It's an
Very nice.
11,000 kilowatt system with 2 power walls.
That's great.
We are currently looking at about 70% offset. We're aiming to eventually get to 100, but we've got
Wow.
to get some upgrades to the house inside first.
Also, you won't be able to do that in the state of Florida. It's illegal to be 100% off the power grid.
Well, you have to be connected
For
to the power
now.
grid, but you can have 100% solar offset as long as you stay connected to the grid.
Well, there's some
We've looked
places
into this.
there are some places where they force you to stay on the grid, and if you're like over
Florida
100,
requires you to stay on the grid, even if you're only paying like $3 a month.
Yeah, basically what it is it's a $3 connection fee. But yeah, so we've got that going on. That's going to be exciting as all get out, and it's going to be supposedly extremely cool while the install is going on, so we don't have to worry about the AC being out, which is important in Florida. We had the new Pokemon Direct yesterday. That was entertaining as all get out.
are you excited for a Sword and Shield?
Sword, Shield, and Gun,
I am.
as people have been going on about.
I'm super stoked.
It just the visual that they went with going into it really makes me happy, because it got like that little touch of steampunk. You've got the whole rustic countryside look going on.
Going to
There's this
England.
real brief clip in the bit of footage they showed where the avatar is running past this hillside, and there's this like massive ancient, I don't know what they're called, dirt mound.
So Pokemon Go was the tech demo for this, right?
Oh yeah, if
I'm
these games
upset that
do
they
not
brought back
have,
random encounters.
Yes.
if this game does not have the partner Pokemon system, I'm going to be pissed off.
Right? If my damn Pokemon can't walk around with me, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
Also, if a game called Sword and Shield does not have the Hone Edge line in it, I'm gonna be pissed.
Fourth Evo for Hone Edge or Super or Ultra Hone Edge.
Megaform.
So,
Mega Hone Edge.
quick thing. This is what I thought when, as soon as they announced it for the Switch. Well, of course it's gonna be for the Switch. Is the 3DS dead?
Yes.
It is. It's absolutely dead. As soon as it was announced that the Switch was a portable console, like that was the nail in the coffin for the DS line.
And
Which
they
is
said they've announced that they were putting Gen 8 Plus on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that it's on the Switch. I didn't get the Switch for the portable aspect, and I'm really not looking forward to either not being able to go forward with me and Carrie's tradition of each getting one copy of the game and being able to trade back and forth on our DSs, or having to buy a second Switch. Which, we've had two DSs. That's why is that a difference? It's because none of the other stuff that's been on the Switch I care the least about playing portable. So there's basically no library for the Switch for portable for me.
Man,
I would literally be buying a second Switch to play Pokemon.
Not to mention the price differential between the Switch and the 3DS. The Switch is priced more for a lot of people as a family console rather than an individual console.
But the prices come down on the Switch a lot, and it's hard to compare the 3DS and the Switch because the 3DS has been out for 10 years.
and it's I am also like, up until I started this new job, my Switch very rarely, if ever, left the dock. Being able to take these console games portable is a fucking life changer, man.
I will say that you're right. Like the profile stuff on the Switch and handling save data is like not great, and especially in a Pokemon situation where, that game will probably ship without autosave, and that game will probably ship without multiple save slots like they all have. I definitely understand your plight on that.
However, Grass Monkey. That funky monkey.
Fire Bunny, go!
I'm definitely
I'm sorry. I care not about your furry bait. Give me the Grass Monkey.
Fire rabbit, go.
I'm one of the 2 people in the world who actually likes the water starter. I think it's
It's so
adorable.
Everyone likes the water starter. That everyone loves everyone I've ever seen online loves the water one. And
Hate
it's
the
I'm
water.
like the only person on geek-io.net/discord that actually likes it.
So dumb.
It's adorable.
the frog fish ugly mother dumb fucker.
Here's the thing.
to the gestalt right now of small, awkward, and afraid children.
Here's
I
the
have
thing.
enough of those in my house. I don't need a goddamn water starter that's that too.
I don't hate Sobble. I think it is cute. However, it does not compare to the glory that is grass type monkey. Because 1, I always go with the grass types. 2, I love monkeys.
There's already
Type 1, my favorite was Primeape.
Yeah,
It was my AIM username for almost 15 years.
we already had a monkey starter. We're done with them. Bunny starters for the
Yeah,
win.
it wasn't great because it was just a Sayuki reference and
I
Son
mean,
Goku.
I'm more worried about the fact that most bunny Pokemon that I can recall off the top of my head usually end up being part fighting.
And Lopunny wasn't.
But there was like leaked concept art that makes it look like the final evolution of the Score Bunnies is his name. It will
Score Bunny.
be like a mech, which looks like a mech, and someone was saying that it could be fire and steel.
I love
That would
the,
be cool.
I love the
That'd be
dumb
cool.
concept art that's out there right now. Like
Oh, yeah.
the leading one that was going around, the best one was it was actually just a Digimon, and people were passing it off as the final evolution for Score Bunny. And I'm like, I am completely okay with this.
I keep our one friend Justin from Anime Otaku Show keeps sharing these memes that say the end evolution of the fire bunny is King Cosma from Summer Wars. I don't know that show. I just keep seeing the memes.
I've seen Summer Wars. It's what Digimon based its first movie on, pretty much. Almost the exact
Oh, I
same
have seen
thing.
this. I've seen the rabbit with the vest. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep seeing memes saying that's the final evolution.
Oh man, yeah, 8th gen.
Hey Rachel, random home game question for you, really quick. What kind of snake is Noodle?
I'll get back to you.
That's not helpful. Continue on.
Poison
Ball
black.
python.
Outside of that, I picked up Spider-Man again today. Love me the Spider-Mans. Finished up
the PS4, the PS4
Yeah.
Spider-Man. That's a very good
The
game.
one and only greatest Spider-Man ever.
Finished up the last little nagging bits from the Heist DLC. Started up Turf Wars today.
CJ.
Which villain is Turf Wars?
Yes, Rachel.
Hammerhead.
Ball python.
Black Mamba.
Black Mamba.
Oh man.
Oh, Hammerhead.
Does it even okay? So the DLC, does it take place before the ending or after the ending?
Yes.
Because
The,
it
the,
had a
the
very
DLC takes place when you want it to take place.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
because
still have to beat that game.
Turf Wars has like a very couple of seconds moment where it hints that it's after the end of the game proper because of something that happens in the post-game credits, which I won't say so that I'm not spoiling anything for Bryce. But it's roughly accepted that it takes place after the game proper, but you'll see things like, the Magia and Hammerhead mentioned in the game proper, hinting at the DLC. So it's kind of like almost simultaneous. Because, the whole point of the DLC is it's called The City That Never Sleeps, which a Spider-Man's work is never done.
So how far have you got in, Bryce?
Oh geez. I stopped playing a while ago, not because I didn't like it. I really do like playing it. It must have been not long after. I won't spoil it, but there's a sequence where you control a third character, a second side character.
Which
Uh,
one?
the the second one. Don't make me say his name. And I think it was just after that I had put it down. But that's that. What I like that game in the same way that I like the Infamous games. You know, the Sony Infamous games where the gameplay is fine, the fighting is whatever, the superpowers is just whatever. But just like there are not a lot of games where I like going around a map and checking off everything on the map. But Spider-Man kind of does it right, and there's enough like, just go to this thing and find it, go here and do this little event. Um, and that's all paced out really well. It's fun to just go around the city and just finish off the map and not run through the story stuff, because I think that's the sort of game you probably could run through all the story stuff pretty quickly. But you have to have fun in the environment. The city of New York is kind of like a character itself in the Spider-Man universe. So
Absolutely. Like, and that's one of the things that's really great about the game is just how much fun they made the game to play. You
Yeah.
don't even have to be doing anything. I've sat there and just tooled around, whatever area of New York, just swinging and pulling tricks and point launching, and it's fun.
Yeah,
They capture the movement so perfectly that it's just good.
This is really a weird association to make with it, but I think of the movement in Spider-Man in a very similar way that I think of the movement in The Witness. Did anybody play The Witness?
The puzzle game?
Well, I
Yes.
watched someone play The Witness and helped with some of the puzzles.
Mhm.
But yeah,
The way The Witness's line is set up, as far as, because you're only really walking around this deserted island, but it's the traversing the island is a very considered part of the game's design. It understands where you can be coming from and where you can be going, and it opens up a design like where you would expect to be able to go, because you could just say, okay, it's a big circle and it branches off into hubs, and the hubs are just a big circle, and then eventually you go in and out. But it's an openness in design towards what players' habits are going to be. I want to go over that way. I'm over here. I should be able to just cut across this field, and then you can. Spider-Man feels the same way in that there are moments dotted all around the city that keep you propelling from one space to the other.
And not to mention just how accurate it is. There were at least one or two times where I gave Josh directions on where to go based on having been to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played the Spider-Man games. I've only watched him do it, but I know enough of the geography of Manhattan to be able to be like, no, go here, go there. Oh, look, there's this thing.
Yeah, they really nailed it, and I don't know what I want to see from that team next, because I mean, they made a very good game. This is a very good game.
I would not mind them just being in the Marvel universe for a while, because they've proven with the Infamous games that they can do just playing out like super powered superheroes. So I would not mind maybe obviously continuation with this, but like an Iron Man game would be pretty rad.
I don't know if Iron Man would work.
This was also not Sucker Punch. This was not the Infamous.
No, this was Insomniac. This was Infamous 1.
Is that right?
Yes.
So Bryce, if you're at that part, that means that you've already seen the cameo.
The what?
The cameo. My voice is shot right now.
Oh, the cameo.
What did you think you said?
Oh, the cat mule.
I heard cat meal, which did not quite. Yes,
No, the cat meal's in the DLC.
No, yes. Are you talking about Stanley?
Yes.
Yes, it was a very nice moment.
I saw that the week that he passed.
Oh Jesus!
And it hit hard. It was just like.
Into the Spider-Verse also had a very like.
Oh, Into the Spider-Verse was a tearjerker with that.
Oh,
I'm excited that that's finally out on digital, so I will probably be picking up that this weekend.
Do it. Do it.
It was never a matter of if; it was only a matter of when.
Win, yes. But yeah, outside of that, not a whole lot going on for me, other than segueing the show. Da 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 da. Raul.
hello. Yes.
How are things in
Nobody-
Tejas?
Nobody tell him.
Weird. Because one day it's warm and one day it's cold.
Oh my God! It was 80 degrees on Wednesday, and then today it was on Wednesday, and then today it was like 40 or something. It's this back and forth is killing me. I cannot.
Oh yeah, and it's not helping me recover because I got pneumonia like 2-3 weeks ago,
Oh Jesus!
and like I'm just trying to recover here, and like, oh, nice and warm, cold, freaking killing my throat.
Yeah.
Let's see. I also watched the Nintendo Direct.
Very short, sweet. Didn't overstay its welcome. Like I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. Get in, do your thing, leave.
Got
Feel
in,
free,
did its
listen.
thing, left, and it didn't spoil the fucking legendaries already.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that was the one thing that really irritated me about like the Sun and Moon release was they were just like, yep, here's like a whole bunch of our new Pokemon, including several legendaries.
Hopefully they don't go overboard with the legendaries this time.
I'm fine with there being several legendaries as long as they're a cohesive unit and you discover them through the gameplay.
Yeah, you guys are probably going to end up getting Gen 4 level legendaries because they are trying to put everything into these new ones, and only the Gen 1's ones have been available on the Switch. So you're going to be getting quite a few legendaries in this. I can almost guarantee it.
Because if I remember correct,
Gen 4, by the way, had pretty much every single one of them because they were branching off into the 2DS. So, or into the DS era. So they were away from the advanced and into the DS. So they were like, nope, here is pretty much every single legendary up to date,
But now that they have the Pokemon Bank system,
which you can't access through the Switch.
well, there's no game for it yet.
Pokemon Go, Pokemon Let's Go.
But people would get but Pokemon Let's Go connects to Pokemon Go, not Pokemon Bank.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like there are enough DS and 3DS games that have a pathway. I saw a chart the other day of like all the different ways you can migrate Pokemon through or to Pokemon Bank now. That I wouldn't say they need to represent all of those legendaries again.
Oh.
I would think.
because I think right
But
now the
then-
only way
but
to
then
get
you lose out on then you lose out on marketing material. Look how many legendaries you can catch.
yeah, well, I mean, right now the only way you can get the Gen 1 legendaries to Sun and Moon is by the eShop version of Red and Blue, right?
Right, those eShop versions have
The Pokemon Bank.
they have Pokemon Bank in them. That's right.
I'm
Hey.
just super glad to see that the
No.
first Gen 8 game is a new region rather than yet another Gen 1 remake.
Yeah. But by the way, no. Soul Silver and Heart Gold.
Oh, those are 3DS.
Those had all Gen 1 and Gen 2 in them. Because Silver and Gold had all of Gen 2, and then you went into Kanto, which had all of the legendaries.
Ah,
So the easiest way to get through there is to just get the DS ones or the eShop ones. But
yeah. I've also been working on trying to get my workflow straightened out.
which
Oh
I
yeah?
appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, video exporting to audio editing, trying to get ahead of that. I edit the Exploding Dice, our D&D podcast, which we record. behind the.
Your Geek.io live play role.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, their internet seems like it went down. But so you edit Exploding Dice.
Yes.
Playing podcast.
Wow.
That was amazing.
You
Are we
froze.
back now?
Yes.
You're back.
Okay. I don't know what
You froze
happened.
quite epic.
Oh, they're gone again.
So yeah,
Oh, no.
so I edit that and then I post it, but it's just like getting everything scheduled to launch at the same time.
Yeah.
So and
Well, a D&D podcast, I do you mind if I ask how much you edit? Because my understanding on what you would do with the D&D podcast is if you want to make it listenable at all, you would need to edit it. Just
the most I edit do is really when we have to take breaks, when we have to look things up, or technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Those are the only times that I cut anything out. And we usually keep it to about an hour and a half each episode each week.
Okay.
So I mean, so you're not watching or listening to a 5-hour, which I know some do. I've seen a few that are like 4 or 5 hours long.
I would say the leading ones in the world are 4 hours each week.
But that's also why Josh and I are at least a season behind on TFS, because catching up on several 4-hour episodes is not always feasible for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, that's something where you really have to pace it out. And I've listened to a lot of D&D podcasts, and I can usually tell in an episode or two if I'm going to like it just based on how much editing they do, because so much of tabletop gameplay is not good to listen to, whether you're searching something up or you're doing rolls, or if the people on it aren't like on enough, whether they're not like being like radio friendly enough. That stuff all matters, and you can usually suss that out pretty quickly. But if you have a show that you like that can put out a lot of stuff very quickly like that, like 4 hours a week is a lot, then yeah, that equally feels like a negative, despite being a lot of something good.
Yeah, I mean, when we sit down to record, we record 3 to 4 episodes, or we try to get to 4.
Yeah.
4 is like our mythical great night. 3 is a good night.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
four
that's
episodes is the white whale.
Yeah, that's a long game. I mean, I was just in a Pathfinder group, and we would do, 3 or 4 hour sessions once a week, and that was a lot for me. So I don't envy you guys doing that, but that's the best way to do it. Also, is to batch your recordings in one long day.
Yeah, I think right now we'll go till the middle of March, if I remember correctly.
Lousy March weather.
And sometimes we can do 2 weekends in a row, but normally we do one not every other, first weekend of the month.
Yeah.
And having to get 6 people together for one day or for one evening.
You're way better off batching it in
Yeah.
We used to do it when we first started, by the way, and I don't recommend anybody going to listen to those, coming from a person who went back and listened to all of them recently.
No, they were okay.
They're rough. They're very rough. But then again, we were doing it with a bunch of new people who had never even played tabletop games before, live, because it was taking over this time slot for a while. So people who were not used to role playing and then live casting these things as well, that's where a lot of our issue was. Once we got moved into a batch recording and not doing it live, and also having a group that is static and not having people duck out, it helps a lot.
Because this is our what, like third group?
Yes.
Rachel's is 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. yeah, it was really, really, really rough. Even with the simple edits of, hey, removing silence and things like that, and taking moments where we're having non-topic conversations and things like that, thankfully, for better or for worse, we're doing our stuff through online. So it's all the rolls are already automated. Like the only person who's physically rolling dice for the most part is me. I'm the DM. And I only started recently rolling physical dice when I printed my dice tower and I wanted to use it.
But then even still, we bring that into the show, right? Like we asked CJ, hey, bring your mic closer to your tower so the listeners can hear you making DM rolls.
It is audible, by the way, so that's good.
If we have to look things up, we turn it into a, hey, let's tell the listeners what this rule is in case they're new to D&D and they don't know what it is. Like, it's not just self-talk between us. It's we are aware of the listeners as an audience and being like, hey, the reason we stopped to ask about this is this rule and this rule don't make sense together. Or, I had a question about this thing. And so we're explaining to the listeners sort of what's going on, who rolled what is this rule that we're talking about.
What's this?
And that's really valuable, especially for D&D, where your audience is going to be so divisive between people who are not very experienced with D&D and people who are like born and bred in D&D and know everything about it. And so you almost have to kind of make a choice between how you want to handle that sort of stuff, because you would either like to cater towards people who know what you're talking about and can kind of take the shorthand, or people who don't and would rather hear an explanation, and having that like mind towards what your audience and what type of audience you're catering for is really important.
Yeah, definitely. The audience in Exploding Dice, they are always definitely another chair at the table.
Yeah. Other than that, I've just been completely swamped at work because we're down one tech, and I'm in the shop for like 5 minutes in the morning, drink coffee, or shotgun coffee actually, and then just drive around town to the different sites.
I'm just imagining you now with a coffee mug, but stabbing a hole in the side of it.
No, I mean that's what I do with the Starbucks.
Oh yeah, the Starbucks shot. Yeah.
I have to try that now.
I'm just imagining a like a tumbler or something that's shaped like a shotgun and just in the back of the throat and down.
That's where I went too. Like the way that you said it was like it was either a brand or like what you were doing. Like I know what shotgunning a drink is, but the way that you said it just made me think of like, yeah, you just drinking coffee from a shotgun, which would make sense for Texas.
Just get a super soaker.
And then you gotta pump it though.
You have to pump shotguns.
I mean, we're all pretty used to that.
Glad we have that. I'm glad we'll have that forever to make it to a GIF. And
that ain't my first. That ain't my first, kid. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I played Wirelands, the Ghost Recon Wirelands.
Oh yeah, do you like that?
It's actually really good for an Ubisoft game.
But then again, The Division was really good too.
Okay, this because in The Division, it's an RPG.
Yes.
So you got to get a gun with bigger numbers to empty like 5 clips into an enemy to kill them.
It's a loot shooter.
Yes,
okay,
it's a loot shooter.
Freaking Borderlands is one of my favorite games of all time. Don't diss loot shooters.
No, I'm not
But he's saying that they're different. He's just saying that they're different, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in Wildlands, you nail a headshot and they go down. It's a little bit more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So I popped on one of my streams and it's like, oh, playing Wildlands. It's like, oh, come join us. Okay. And they had created a ghost character, which was a little bit more realistic. If you had ammo in your clip and you reload, you lose that ammo.
Yeah.
Permadeath. you can only switch out your loadout at ammo crates.
Huh.
So yeah,
A clip or a magazine?
Magazine.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it was, and we were all like super careful. It's like permadeath. Don't fly too close. Like the helicopters, like we're skimming the ground because they have surface to air missiles.
Oh my gosh.
That if you fly too high, they will knock you down.
Is there an open world mechanic to
Yes.
Wildlands?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all open world. You can go wherever you want.
I thought it was all mission level structure, but I mean, it's an Ubisoft game. That totally makes a bunch of sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have your main missions, and then you have a bunch of side missions that pop up. But there's no real like, you know how like in the Ubisoft games you have to find the tower, show the whole area. It doesn't have that. It has it separated by regions, and each region has a difficulty on it. So you can go from a region that has like 1 or 2 difficulty to a region that has like 5 right next to it.
Oh wow.
So it's not like a progression.
It's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
It's the welcome bear.
It's about like the time that I was playing Dragon Age Origin, not Dragon Age, the newest one, Inquisition. And literally off one of the starting areas is a end game area, and I didn't realize that. And there's no like differentiation. You just kind of go through this cave. I'm like, oh, there's this cool cave. Oh, that's a pretty good loot in here. I'll just keep going through this cave. Oh God, why is this thing killing me? Why is literally the air here murdering me? Oops.
Other than that, not much. Carrie, what have you been up to? Just
you
that
asked her if she's eating. You couldn't ask anybody else. There are 3 people here that have not said anything. You asked the one person who took a fucking bite.
Okay.
Of my delicious Marma sandwich. Pretty good after getting over the latest episode of me being dumb, where immediately after being in recovery for heart issues, I went out and worked in the garage for the 4 hours and then woke up with chest pains the next day. So that was fun, but I'm okay. I was not, in fact, having a heart attack. I just made my chest muscles very angry. And apparently when you make your chest muscles angry, your brain does not know the difference between that and cardiac pain. It just says, hey, this hurts.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So that was fun.
Please, no more of that, Carrie.
No, I had an EKG done. Everything's fine.
Okay.
And been playing more Final Fantasy while dealing with recovery. I find Final Fantasy X. I picked up the HD remake recently, and I got the airship, and I finally got the items that I needed to do the AP trick, where you customize a certain amount of a certain set of abilities on your character's weapons, and you go into the monster arena and you fight this Tonberry thing. And in the process of you dying and being rezzed and dying and being rezzed and dying and being rezzed and eventually just running away from the battle, you can get ludicrous amounts of sphere levels from that fight.
Huh.
Not even maximized. Like, this is like the second best, like the second tier version of this that I'm doing. I got one of my characters 25 sphere levels in one fight in like 4 turns.
That's crazy. I was just
confirmed plays bonkers.
I was just playing Final Fantasy VIII recently, and that's a similar game where if you spec in the right way, you can really break that game and bad and early on. And that was a lot of fun to follow a guide to do it, but oh yeah, I got to make sure I get a bunch of these, these magics and these things, because there's something about breaking an RPG that feels really fun. It feels like you shouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a part in Final Fantasy 12 where if you have your gambits set right and the right equipment, you can literally run around in circles and level infinitely.
Yeah. I absolutely adore, I got into fight is a strong word, but a debate about this on Reddit about Final Fantasy, it was 12 with the remake of it. Like, no, I like breaking my games. Like, it is enjoyable for me to just destroy these games. Like, I understand people who are like, oh, I try to under level. Nope, that ain't me. Like, don't judge me when I come in there saying, hey, I'm here. I read this as a thing, but I can't figure out how to make it happen. How do I make happen? How do?
Yeah, like the last time I played Final Fantasy X, I won't say which one of the end bosses in case there's somebody listening who hasn't played that game. There's an end boss in the game who has 2 forms. I killed that boss in 2 hits.
Oh, you Yevon.
No, actually.
Oh, no? Sorry, I am not nice. Are you talking about the final form of
I said I wasn't going to say it, and I'm not going to say it.
I'm not
I think we look at JRPGs as being these like infallible genres. Like, if you ever go back, there are great articles about, or like just resources of like the original Pokemon games and how they didn't know what they were, or they knew what they were doing at the time, but the coding of that game is such, and there are mistakes in the coding that you go and you see and you think this feels impossible, that like this classic, RPG, which is all about math and numbers and formulas, could like just accidentally like not care about this one thing, or this skill actually does these things. And
hello, Missing No.
Yeah, and
or
speedrunners destroyed Pokemon Blue.
Yeah,
they're actually rewriting memory to beat the game.
Yeah, and but even like even like your casual player, there's a lot of stuff in there that is I think by virtue of not explaining everything compared to like the way they do it now, there's stuff that you just never would have thought of. But the idea of like certain attacks will never miss, and certain attacks will almost always miss because the formula is wrong or it's not right.
In fact, the confusion always feels completely one-sided.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like back in the day where you had a game-breaking glitch,
isn't it where
anything.
like psychic doesn't or ghost doesn't affect psychic in Gen 1 because of a glitch in there? I forget, something like that.
There's some of that. I think it's really interesting. If you have the time, if this interests you at all, check. I think the Bulbapedia probably has a bunch of stuff about it, but like there are entire documents of like, this thing is really messed up. This thing is really messed up. This thing is really messed up. And a lot of that stuff doesn't affect the game because it's super popular and no one ever cared. But they're not these infallible like brick walls of games. They're
they are fallible but fun.
Yeah.
I actually saw not too long ago a really funny glitch in Super Mario RPG, one of my favorite games of all time. There is apparently a specific method that you can go through with they call it the skill swap.
Mm-hmm.
If you pull the trick off correctly, what will happen is the level up screen will trigger. You will see Gino pop out of the pipe, and you'll select the usual level up bonus and everything. But what actually happens is Peach levels up and learns Geno Flash.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Peach Flash. Rule 34.
Well, see, that's the great thing though, is after you successfully do this, the game isn't quite sure what to make of it. And so anytime you have Peach use Geno Flash, she hops forward and turns into a version of Geno wearing a pink hat and cape.
That's adorable.
And that's another Square Enix property. Those are the people who defined JRPGs, and these things fall through the cracks.
It's because there's a lot going on with them, like at all times. Like it is not a simple you know, coding math is hard, you guys.
Oh, coding can get super screwy sometimes. I used to play this game about 10 years back that probably nobody else here ever even heard of other than Carrie from me bitching about it. It was this little thing called Poxnora. And it was a combination deck building slash turn-based strategy game where basically picture a like StarCraft style map, and then you have your deck of cards on top, individual bases, and then if you dropped a creature card onto the field, it became that creature.
Oh, wow.
It was interesting. I think it's technically still going, but I haven't touched it in forever because it kind of fell to hell. But there was a bug that happened that was absolutely hilarious, particularly for me, because anybody who knows me knows I love constructs, I love golems, I love robots, all those things, 100% my jam. And at the time, there were very few actual viable golem type characters in the game, and I eventually went around to changing that, but that's neither here nor there. The one thing they all shared was an immunity to poison and disease damage, because they're not living creatures. It makes sense. Something went screwy in the game code one day, and anything that had any type of damage immunity became immune to any damage.
Oh.
And so for a brief moment, I was one of the few players in the game whose deck was literally unbeatable.
Yeah.
Because you could not kill my creatures, you could not damage my base because the base also shares the immunity to disease and poison damage. But because of one ability called Siege, which lets you do extra damage to bases, or any structure really, I could beat their base.
Wow.
Because the siege damage would still tick for some reason. It was hilarious. But just one of those things where, like, if the coding goes just a little screwy, it can have a big impact.
Well, that was a multiplayer game, right?
Yes.
Like, imagine that happening in like Hearthstone, a game people pay money for, and
people paid money for that game.
Yeah, like that's, you don't get too many times with that.
It got fixed pretty quick.
Oh, I bet.
But we had a good laugh about it.
What else you been doing, Carrie?
Oh,
as we get this.
As I go to take another bite, that's pretty much it. Trying to work on leveling characters for various games that have leveled up. Designing various characters in Hero Forge, because I am totally planning on bribing CJ with a spool of plastic to let me 3D print my minis on his 3D printer.
Ooh, nice.
I'm not hard to bribe.
So I've been like tweaking my characters. I've been redesigning them because Hero Forge has a bunch of new stuff coming out. So I've been seeing like, will this fit this character? Will this fit that character? And yeah, buying a giant ass spool of material.
Did you do the modeling yourself, or were those provided from somewhere?
Sort of. So Hero Forge is a really cool website where you can design your own minis for tabletop games. And it's basically, think of like an online doll maker, except in 3D. And then at the end of it, once it's saved, you can either purchase a minifig that they will 3D print and mail to you, or you can purchase the 3D printer file and print it on your own or your friend's 3D printer.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You do it all in your this is insane.
And it's super customizable.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff on there.
It's like The Sims.
Yep.
Oh, you can even okay, so like one of the things is you can pick a face, but then you can set the expression on the face.
Yep.
Whoa.
You can change.
Yep. Oh, there's a little Groot. Did you make that Groot in that?
No,
CJ 3D printed him. I painted him.
that's
Oh,
actually a different. We got that from just off
Yeah,
of.
he's not a Hero Forge thing, but he is a 3D printed.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that just like free online, like people have
That
designed.
was their start.
Because I am not an artistic person.
well, I mean, artistic ability shows up in a lot of ways. I'm not
Yeah.
a great drawer or illustrator, but like I made the cover for the Night Attack album, and I'm very happy with it. I didn't draw it, but I put it together. Stuff was, it's that stuff
Yeah.
shows up in unique ways for different people.
Indeed.
Indeed. But yeah, that is about it for me. Bryce, you've got some stuff in here.
I do have some stuff. I've been doing some stuff lately. I always try to find. I had actually had a little bit of a dry spell in terms of like watching shows or anything the past like month or so. But they just announced that the new season of the Netflix show The OA is coming back in like a month, and it reminded me that that show existed, and it made me go back to watch the first season, and it's a trippy one. It's kind of, I would think it'd be very similar like to Lost or The Leftovers. Have you guys even heard of the OA?
Um, I saw a few episodes. I saw to the point where she gets. I don't know how this is a spoiler. Where she meets that guy. The
Oh, the yes, the doctor.
no. The one on the other side of the glass.
Oh,
Where she meets the guy.
got it. Okay, yeah.
Um,
So she gets put in the glass and meets the football player.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's as far as I got. But I enjoyed the way that it was telling the story. It's just that I just didn't go back to it.
Yeah, I hope that the second season is good and it gets more people to go and try the first season, because the first season, there's a lot that's not great about the first season. It is kind of, oh man, what's a good word for it? It's kind of loosey goosey with just everything. If you've never seen the show or heard of it, it's about this woman who jumps off of a bridge and ends up in the hospital. And because someone was recording it on video and put it on YouTube, her parents find it, and they go and they claim her, and they, you find out that she had been missing for these past 7 years. But what's more amazing is that when she went missing, she was blind, and now that she's back, she's not. And she is like talking a lot of jive nonsense. She doesn't want to tell anybody what happened to her those 7 years, and she ends up confiding in this group of almost strangers, and asking for their help. And it's an interesting thing in terms of like, okay, well, these are like these students and this teacher in this high school who never really would spend time together, but then because of their bonding through hearing her story and helping her out, have a form their own unlikely bond. And it's it's really neat. It's the first season is very flaky, and the end of the season is kind of a 1-2 punch of like being really off-putting in terms of like, it kind of spends a lot of time saying, oh, actually everything was BS, until the very end when it says no, it wasn't.
Everything you know is wrong.
And then this is a little graphic, especially, I mean, even when it came out a year or two ago. I don't even I don't know how much to talk about it, because I think it's a spoiler, but it's not an important part of the story. The like One of the resolving actions of the season is that a school shooting takes place, and it is depicted pretty earnestly, and it's kind of tough to watch if you're sensitive to any of that stuff. Um,
Especially at the current time frame of things.
yeah, now or when it came out. So like, and the way it handles it and the thing that it does to in response to that is also kind of a little inappropriate. It doesn't feel tasteful, but it's a puzzle box. It's a weird thing with characters who are acting very weird and all trying to say one thing and trying to understand this woman's supernatural story of like life and death and the afterlife and her kidnapping. It's weird, but I ended up rewatching it over the past 2 days because that trailer came out, and now I'm excited for it again. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and then I as far as like video games, the last thing I've been playing is there's that East game, the Wise series, East.
Yes.
East, yeah. They have the new one on the Switch. I've had it for a minute. Lacrimosa of Dana or Dana. I think it's Dana because they keep saying Dana as a name.
It's Dana.
But but in the title, Lacrimosa of, you would think it would be Dana instead of like Dana.
Well, Lacrimosa is a flower, I believe. If I remember correctly.
I think it's a songwriting word.
Possibly. I don't remember. I remember there was a song called Lacrimosa, and that's the only reason why I know even anything about that word.
It is a movement of the Dies Irae.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is part of the Requiem Mass.
Lacrimosa literally means weeping.
Oh. So Dana dies and we cry for her. I got that on PlayStation 4 when they gave it to me to review on the PS4 when it first dropped, and I played maybe a half hour of it, but that was before they patched it and it was super broken. So
yeah.
Like I did not like that game at all.
I have been enjoying it because I've been playing a lot of older JRPGs the past month or so, like going back in, I mentioned Final Fantasy VIII, but I also went back and like restarted Chrono Cross and
good choice.
Vagrant Story, like a lot of good like
underrated.
JRPG. Yeah, but like playing an action RPG or kind of an action adventure sort of game was a very nice change of pace because
very fair.
Yeah, you fall into the JRPG like trap, and you have to have something that you really like because you will spend dozens of hours with it. Where because this is like an action game, it's kind of easy to just sort of mindlessly play it, I guess. But I've been enjoying that, and this is the version on the Switch has all the localization patches, so the
That's
English
good.
is not really messed up.
That's really good because it was bad. It was real bad.
Yay, bad translations.
I'm glad this, but not good bad. Like this was bad.
Yeah, like there would be like there's the one of the big screen caps that went around is that there was like a big chasm, and it had been translated to Mesozoic big hole.
Yes,
and that's
I fucking love it.
That's not a good translation. I wish I believe that there's zero evidence that they're going to port Persona 5 onto the Switch, but I hope that they fix the localization on that awful fucking game.
That's not awful, so good. But there's a lot of stuff going around for it. They copyrighted P4 or P5S, which could entirely be Persona 5 Switch. There's been a lot of points other than just Joker for Smash. That's a big one.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think Joker making Smash is, I mean, I
on the Sonic, they announced Sonic for Smash. It eventually started coming out on Nintendo. Cloud, they have Final Fantasy VII now on the Switch. Street Fighter, obviously, a base start from Nintendo products.
Sure, but also all of those series have a history of either being ported or being developed for Nintendo. Like Persona is distinctly a Sony franchise. That's the thing that gets me, is that the only things that have the Persona title on them that are on non not on the PlayStation are like all the spin-offs, right? Like Persona Q made it, Persona the Dancing All Night stuff did. I could see them making a port of like the fighting game, but
I hope not.
the you know, there's a good game. Access made that game, but I don't I think it would be cool if they did it, and I think it would be an upset if they did. But I think, you know, that P4A, you could have looked at P4A and said, oh, that's another port of Persona 4 when it was the fighting game.
No, I honestly think they're going to do the Switch version, and I will buy that again, and I will spend another 150 hours on it because that game is fucking amazing. What is wrong with you? Which I think you literally had this conversation last time you were on.
You didn't see it coming.
I would if they translated it better or had a better voice cast or like
the biggest thing with me is the voice cast was bad not great. It wasn't bad.
It's not
because I mean, you had a lot of very good voice actors in 4 and all of the stuff for 4, and it was just very weird having some of those characters the way that they were taught.
Their inflections are not right. There's an entire webpage dedicated to pointing out why the Persona 5 translation is not very good. But between like literally translating some stuff wrong, not changing stuff that only people who grew up and understand Japanese culture from birth would understand, like they're weird ones about like actual questions about Japanese kanji and stuff that nobody
that is weird.
they're like it's poor translation for what should be a flagship game.
Yeah. And also the reason why I'm pointing that one is we have SMT5 coming out for the Switch, and it's like, it would not surprise me if they just continue to put Persona 5 in there to kind of get the hype train going for that.
But see, that's the thing. SMT is the Nintendo franchise. There's a I don't know.
But also every game in the history of ever is porting onto the Switch right now. So
the Switch is the new hotness, and it is it is the fun place to put things.
People are realizing that a good way to print money is to port their existing stuff onto the Switch.
There is a non-zero chance that I will be repurchasing Final Fantasy X and X-2 when it comes out for the Switch. And by non-zero, I mean very high chance that I will be buying Final Fantasy X and X-2 for the Switch.
Yeah, 9 just came out for the Switch, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I would have rebought that one, but I just rebought that for the PS4 for Rachel's birthday. They did a lot of justice to that game, man. Like they did a lot of good stuff for 9, the re-release.
Yeah.
So
it seems
it's almost like they were working with good material to begin with,
right?
It's a shame that so many of those the old game files on that stuff is just lost to time. There was actually a really cool project on, I don't remember where, but online, where it was a mod basically for that PC port of, I think it was for I want to say it was for Final Fantasy 9, but there's also I think it was anyway. I don't know if you guys have been following any of the news about like the NVIDIA imaging technology that they're doing with like neural networks and image processing.
Mm-mm.
So apparently you can feed image files into some neural network system, and it will actually spit out up-res versions of the file with detail added in. So you're not just like stretching and sharpening, but actually synthesizing new
zoom and enhance
data. And
oh no, the zoom and enhance cliche is going to become real.
Well, and you know, in terms of surveillance stuff, that is especially dangerous because you're synthesizing new information. You're not just manipulating existing information. But here, you take stuff like the pre-rendered backgrounds of those games that have been lost to time itself, and actually bump them up to 4K and kind of get pretty close in terms of what the style was at the time. That it's really fascinating that we're able to not save because you're actually putting new data into this, but we're able to update these games in a way that should feel organic.
Yeah.
If you ever want to have some fun, uncanny valley fun times, go to thispersondoesnotexist.com.
Oh my God, that's so weird. If you want something that's like Picasso level bullshit, this cat does not exist.com.
Oh my God.
It's it's horrifying, by the way.
These websites are basically, these neural networks are generating images of creatures that do not exist. They are taking a bunch of pictures of people or cats, depending on which website you're going to, and making new ones. And for the most part, the person one is really good. The only thing is it doesn't understand hats.
Yeah, it's not good with classes either. Or like if there's like a person cut off, like it will want to generate a second person being cut off by the frame.
Yeah, but they're like, and that's when you start getting like the scream level of distortion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's another one that we actually covered on my podcast.
Oh my God.
This waifu does not exist, and so it also does that where it generates images of female like anime girls using neural network data, but it also uses the newly released OpenAI text synthesis code, which is not as sophisticated as the full code that OpenAI has not released yet, but it will generate an image of some anime character, some fake anime character, and also give you like a big block of text describing like what their show is. And it's generally gibberish, but the artwork stuff is really cool because it seems to understand different types of art styles, whether it's color, whether it's brush thickness, the types of shading. This stuff is getting really really sophisticated.
It's super. This waifu does not exist.
I need to. And the sad thing is like, my immediate role player brain goes to like, oh, you can use these people as like NPCs because they don't
I
exist.
totally would.
Sure.
In this episode of Raccoon Girl, Iki is the school's best teacher. In a flashback, she is playing a game with Mokito, a female friend of her friend. Ikikane. Oh, don't refresh, you asshole.
Yeah, the site is
Female
bad.
friend of her friend.
Pause refresh. God damn it. I was reading that. Fuck you.
Don't worry, that pause refresh button only kind of works half the time. So.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Who else is left? CJ, did you go yet? Okay, please go ahead.
I'm always last. It's all right. It's a thing. So, all right, still 3D printing things. 3D printing things right now. It's real. I love my 3D printer so much. Rachel just bought some upgrades to it that I get to play with this weekend, and that makes me happy. Getting a new bed and a new extruder and a new nozzle, and it's going to print super cool, and it's going to be amazing, and I can't wait. So still trudging my way through Kingdom Hearts 3 because goddamn it, I waited 13 fucking years for this goddamn game. I'm going to fucking beat it. I should not feel this way about a Kingdom Hearts game.
How many hours are you into Kingdom Hearts 3?
Not a ton.
Yeah.
4 of it. Fucking Arendelle.
Tell us how you really feel.
I think I was able
Which
to
one is
finish
it?
it in like 20, 30 hours, I think.
Yeah, it's not a super long game. Like, they have 3 sets of 2 worlds in the main game. Right? Yeah, 3 sets of 2 worlds in the main game, and then you have the final world, which is literally called the final world, but it's not the final world, but it's the final world. It's a Kingdom Hearts thing. You wouldn't understand. I don't understand. It's a Kingdom Hearts thing.
Kingdom Hearts is the story that is the D&D campaign that went off the rails.
Yes, and people wonder why I put things on rails every so often.
Well, I mean, we talked about this last week, but there is no progression in any of the worlds.
No, like I finally got to storyline progression in the fucking Pirates of the Caribbean story, which is the 3rd set of 2 worlds. Like, I'm literally just now getting to the game's storyline minus cutscenes in the game, which don't pay off, by the way. In the worlds, you meet these Organization 13 members and you never fucking fight them. You never do anything with them. They show up, harass you for a little bit, and then villain the fuck out.
Yeah, and then you're left dicking around a mostly empty world.
Yeah. Getting blown off of a mountain 17 motherfucking times.
The thing that always...
You've seen that gif of Donald getting blown away, right? Just Donald?
Just Donald. I wish it was just Donald in my game. So there's a part in the Frozen world where there's really strong winds blowing because it's what Elsa did. She made a freaking blizzard. And if you don't triangle at the right place at the right time, you start over. And if you don't triangle at the right time, you start over. And if you triangle at the wrong time, you get knocked all the way down the fucking mountain and have to do an hour's worth of content again. And when I'm not paying attention to because my dogs or my puppies or something like that is happening, and this game that is 99% of press up and X to win, I'm like kind of just paying attention to something that my daughter's telling me, and I'm off the mountain.
And this is the level with Olaf in it.
Oh, my favorite fucking character that has completely ruined Josh Gad for me for fucking ever. I can now not hear that man's voice without hearing Olaf, and I hate it, and I want to kill it with fire.
And this is a game that you are in.
See,
well,
I'm.
You said you know.
What was that, Bryce? Bruce?
Well, I was gonna say, tell us how you really feel, but you already said you didn't even you weren't like a fan of the game, so.
Yeah, like Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Rachel and I, this is my favorite story of this one. Rachel and I got Kingdom Hearts 2 for each other for Christmas the year that it came.
No, that was Kingdom Hearts 1. That was the first one.
No, it was 2. It was 2. We bought one on our own because we were like, nope, we're going to play this game. But 2 was right after we got married, and we got it, and it was for Christmas. And it was one of my favorite games of all time. And I can guarantee if these existed back in the day, I would have platinumed it. Yeah. And I played the side games when they got re-released for the PlayStation 4. I bought both the PlayStation 4 collections. I loved every single minute of them. Some of them were frustrating, sure, but I enjoyed my time in the Kingdom Hearts universe.
No, it was Kingdom Hearts 1, CJ.
Okay.
Because Kingdom Hearts 1 came out in 2002.
But
is that a purely tactile enjoyment, or is there something in the story that is of value?
I enjoy the story in it. The story in its weird Japanese-ness of Nomura just being crazy pants is great to me. I love the time travel bullshit that everybody is either Sora, Xehanort, or Riku. I love it. It's brilliant in its stupidity. But then again, I am a huge fan of the Metal Gear Solid storylines too. So my tolerance of Japanese video game weirdness is very, very high.
From everything that I've seen and heard about Kingdom Hearts 3 so far, it basically sounds like the ultimate in malicious compliance. You want Kingdom Hearts 3 so bad, here you fucking go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because everything I have experienced with this game has been lackluster, half-assed, like when I said in the pre-show, we're watching TFS play through the game, and they're in Corona right now, and they meet Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, and you're basically watching Tangled again, except with worse graphics because it's a video game instead of pre-rendered Disney masterpiece.
Yeah, and the worlds aren't really greatly rendered. They're overly large and not a lot going in for them, especially levels that follow the movies. The story, the ones that are unique, the Toy Story and the Monsters Inc. worlds, they're fully fleshed out. They are great levels. Like, I had to blast my way through Corona and skip most of the fights and pretty much luck my way through the boss because it is press X to win. And then grind in Toy Story Land because Toy Story Land is fully enjoyable. I am enjoying the music in there, even though it is You Have a Friend in Me. I just kind of drowned it out after a while. You get into a mech, you just go through the entire mall, you just beat the shit out of things. It's fantastic. Monsters Inc., the characters look good. They are enjoyable. The banter between Mike, Sully, Boo, and the characters is unique. It's fleshed out. It is well done. Like,
I think we're gonna. Polygon did a really great oral history of Final Fantasy VII last year or the year before even, and it's great. They went and they talked to some of the folks at Sony at the time, some of the folks at Square at the time, and got them to talk about the development of that game, and that was culturally significant because it was at a turning point for Square. It was a turning point for Sony. Hardware in video games was at another exponential step up, and I think that there is space for this on for Kingdom Hearts in a few years, where all these producers will be able to talk about talk more openly about all of the constrictions of having to deal with a million different licenses. I know they've already said, like, a lot of development time has been to, like, just going back and forth with Disney and Pixar and getting approvals on every little thing. Every tiny bit has to be pitch perfect, and if it's not, someone has to go and let them be wrong, and a lot of times they won't let them be wrong. You have to fix it and make it
especially for the princess movies, the highly marketable ones. I can guarantee the reason why Corona, which is the Tangle World, and Frozen are like that is because they are such highly marketable princesses that they can't fuck around with those. They couldn't put a unique spin on those because that's not how, especially not Disney, that's not how Disney markets.
Well, and my understanding is that for Toy Story, right, which has a unique a storyline, Pixar actually said, like, hey, like, we can't have you redo the story events of our films because our films have their own canon. Like, you can't actually, we're not going to let you interact with the canon of our films. You have to do a new thing that potentially slots somewhere in a dark zone of what we do, which is its own, like, total head fuck.
Yeah, and that kind of makes sense. Like, like Pixar, especially considering the two that are Pixar movies are franchised out movies. You have Monsters University or Monsters Inc. and Toy Story, both of which have their fully fleshed out canon in there that you can't have those being messed with because Pixar have always been perfectionists. Pixar has always been that kind of company that's, we are going to have this our way, and that is it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Big Hero 6 world, because I've heard that is a good, unique storyline as well, and Big Hero 6 is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm excited for that world, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So that actually makes me happy, other than more fucking mini games in that one, which...
The flan!
So done with the mini games in this fucking game, you guys.
But see, if they put in more mini games, you won't realize how much actual game is missing.
Like, I got yanked out of Arendelle and thrown into the 100-acre wood, and I'm like, no, I'm not playing your fucking mini games. Let me out of this goddamn world. I don't care how much I love Winnie the Pooh in them, and just no, I'm not playing your motherfucking mini games. Get me the fuck out of this goddamn world.
So,
I want to go finish this goddamn story.
So real quick, it wasn't it was a chore, but it was good to get everything in the first game and the second game.
Yes.
I got Ultima in the original games.
Yep.
Because they made it like 10 times harder in the remakes, the 1.5 and the 2.5.
I fucking beat Sephiroth in 2, and that was such an accomplishment for me. Like,
and then this one is like, I can go back and get everything, but I'm just like...
No way in hell. I'm finishing this fucking game and then just getting rid of it. Like, this game is retroactively making me want to go back and play Final Fantasy 15. Like...
Let's not be hasty. Though supposedly they're working on story DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, of course we were. Maybe we'll get our Final Fantasy characters in there.
Maybe not this game, but probably the next game based on the secret ending stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I was hoping.
Yeah,
for
this
it to,
entire
like,
game is sequel baiting, by the way. This game sequel baits harder than fucking Kingdom Hearts 2 does. Like, the freaking box plot pays zero influence on the game at all. It's all to set up for 4. Or whatever the hell they're going to call it, which I will probably not buy unless it is significantly better than this.
I believe they've already come out and said that there will be a Kingdom Hearts game between Kingdom Hearts 3 and Kingdom Hearts 4, at least one.
Yep.
Of course there will, because there will be Kingdom Hearts 3.75 over 67.5. To the square root of 6.
Kingdom Hearts 3.14159267583.
Are you doing pie?
Yes, that was the joke. On another 3 game, Crackdown 3 is free on Xbox Game Pass, and I have Xbox Game Pass. So I wanted to play Terry Crews as a superhero. And god damn it, I fucking love playing Terry Crews as a motherfucking superhero.
You're being a bit redundant there, CJ.
The game is so stupid, mindless fun. I'm loving the hell out of it because, like, unlike Kingdom Hearts, I had zero expectations whatsoever for Crackdown. And man, it's just like it is so much fun. It's like Saints Row level of ridiculous fun and having just enjoyment, and it's pure enjoyment out of this. Like, so that's just the Crackdown 1 game, just made with a black guy. I don't fucking care. I loved Crackdown 1. Shut up. That game single-handedly made me borrow my friend's freaking Xbox 360 for 3 goddamn months so I could play it. Because I was damned if I was going to buy a fucking 360.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with simple games as long as they're fun.
Yeah, like
I loved the hell out of Ashura's Wrath until it threw the DLC ending at me.
Freaking Just Cause is a fantastic game just to turn off your mind and just go literally blow up a world. Like, it's just mindless games where you can do ridiculous things are so much fun. This game didn't need to be deep. It just needed to exist, and I'm glad that it does. And I'm glad that I didn't buy it. If I bought it for $60, then I might have a completely different opinion on this one. But I spent, I pay for I pay for Game Pass because my kids freaking love Forza Horizon, like, and they play the ever living shit out of that and the Lego games. Like, the Xbox is primarily their system. It just kind of worked out that way. But yeah, I'm glad that it's on there and I'm having a ton of fun with it. I got an early copy of Dragon Ball Super Heroes for the Switch, which is their coming out free to play card game, coming out next weekend for the Switch. And I'm up in the air of how I feel about gacha games on my Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a solid card game, and I like me some card games.
Is it like a lot of... How free to play is it? Like, is it actually a free game?
It is a free game. I'm guessing they gave the people that they gave early copies to a bunch of stuff to test out the game with. I would imagine it's Hearthstone levels of free, where if you try, you can make it free, but it's going to be easier just to buy a bunch of packs and go with it. I'm not going to do that. Like I said, I'm still not entirely sold on gacha games on my Switch, but I mean, it's a solid card game, and more card games the better for me, and contrary to what my wife thinks. Rachel is going to be leaving us here in a few minutes. I wanted to take a moment really quick and talk about the Lego Movie 2. Fucking go see that movie. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
everything's still awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
everything. No, everything is not awesome, but that's okay.
The awesomeness will return in the Lego Movie 3, The Search for More Money.
That first game that first movie was really good.
It really was.
Really was.
I enjoyed this.
The other Lego movie, the Lego Batman one that came out, didn't interest me to go see it. But if
It's actually good.
It is really good. Ninjago was a flop and a half. But they ignored that one, like the redheaded stepchild that it is. Batman Lego movies canon in the Lego movie universe. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Of course it is.
It's the style of Batman that I actually enjoy, because dark and gritty for dark and gritty's sake is a really hard sell for me. Batman when when I enjoy Batman, it's when it's campy as fuck and doesn't take itself seriously. And that is the Lego Batman movie.
I hate Will Arnett. Now, Will Arnett might be my favorite Batman.
You hate Will Arnett?
I hate Will Arnett. He's been ruined for me. Like,
Oh,
um,
foreboding. Oh, okay.
but no, he's fantastic as Batman, and I love him. Rachel, any opinions on Lego Movie 2?
Batman's one weakness is adorable to me.
Yes, Batman's one weakness is the best. It is a fantastic, fantastic movie. Like, I actually want to go see it again. And this is a non-rant review movie, and I want to go see it again so bad.
Wow, high praise.
But yeah, it's I enjoyed it, maybe not as much as the first one, but damn close.
All right.
So like a typical good sequel.
It builds on the great things of the first one. It's not as strong as the first one, but the first one came out of fucking nowhere to surprise everybody. Now we're kind of expecting it, and it lived up to the expectations. Like, I wasn't expecting a masterpiece, but I was expecting enjoyment, and I got that.
Is this one also a Lord and Miller joint?
Yes, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I mean, they can do no wrong to me.
They have the Lonely Island Boys do the outro music, and it's just the best. Like, it's great. It is everything about that movie is. I had a fucking shit-eating grin on my face the entire goddamn movie. There are points that was laughing so hard it hurts.
That was me watching Bumblebee, especially during the opening sequence. Was like, no, Michael Bay's connected to this. It should be terrible. Why am I smiling like an idiot?
Because all he did was give it money.
Yes,
I know, and it showed.
If Epic Rap Battles of History tells us he is nothing else but he make that motherfucking money. So we're gonna take a quick break, podcast listeners, but we have a pretty important announcement after the break. So stick around, stay tuned. And welcome back. If you want an ad-free experience, make sure you tune in live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/geekio show. Or patreon.com/geekio, where you get an ad-free super feed of all the things that we do. Sorry, I'm just now looking at Twitch chat. Yeah, I finally beat that level. Fucking frozen. But Rachel actually came to me a few weeks ago now.
That's more like about a month and a half ago.
That is still a few weeks ago now.
It's still technically a few weeks. A few is 3 or more, so
a super important. I was hoping that our special guest would be on by now, but he is sadly going to probably fall asleep face down on his living room carpet
He's
because
got daddy things that he needs to do.
Yes, but Rachel, go ahead.
So many of you know that we have a specific podcast that has been on a very long hiatus for multitudes of reasons. Our very own JD of How It Stacks has been dealing with a lot of shit lately. As everybody knows, I'm pregnant, I'm hormonal, I'm sentimental, and I'm not okay when something affects babies. Even not pregnant, when it affects babies, I have problems with that. But that's beside the point. We do have permission to say all that's going on. Yes, CJ?
They don't know what's going on, so sure.
For those that do not know,
he's put it out on the social web, so it's
okay.
Not.
So it's kind of fair game as long as I generalize.
Yes.
JD's wife, the hotness, Vicky, who has 2 beautiful babies, was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. It did go into remission. Unfortunately, it's come back. And being me and seeing all that this very strong, very much like me, I can do this all myself, I don't need your help, screw you, getting to a point where it's I can't do this, but I'm still fighting because I have to. JD and Vicky stood by CJ and I last year when they were going through a rough time too, when we lost our little one. And I had medical issues, and JD and Vicky both reached out to me and, are you okay? What do you need? No, we're good. We were fine. JD and Vicky have a lot more on their plate since her cancer came back. So CJ got bombarded by me one day, highly emotional, saying, I know there's not much we can do. I want to do something. And the best that I've seen, #FCancer or fuck cancer, from JD and Vicky. And she just keeps going and plodding along, and he's taken up the reins of being mom and dad because mom has to go get better. CJ and I have conspired a little bit with the Geek IO team.
Yes.
CJ, would you like to elaborate?
So, yes. We've been kind of trying to figure out a time to do something special for them because these guys are family. Like they are one of our own, and when one of our own fucking fights a fight like this, we all stand up and fight with you. It is a big thing for me. I'm very happy to finally put out there that we, after much teeth pulling and people not answering me in the Slack, that I would like to direct everybody to go to geek-io.net/fuckcancer. That will go to a GoFundMe page that we are currently raising money for, helping them out a little bit. It's not much. I mean, if we meet the $1,000, that'll be more than enough to, help them out for, get them subset some of the costs of this, because Vicky obviously is not working. Bills are piling up. JD lost his job during this whole thing. And
her company switch around.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit. But
They have 2 young boys, and it's just so much for them to deal with. And he feels like he's dealing with it on his own. And that's just not something that we can deal with.
I am not okay with him feeling like he's JD. You and I both know that we don't always see eye to eye. We have bickered like fucking old married people, even though we're obviously not.
One of the 3 Geek IO shows that we've removed from the air was literally Rachel and JD screaming at each other for like better part of 15 minutes.
But I don't ever want somebody to feel that they are alone in this battle. I have been hit by cancer. My grandmother, I lost her to it. I almost lost my father last year to multiple myeloma. He's going to battle that for the rest of his life. There's no remission for him. There is a possibility for remission for Vicky. And if we can take something off their plate and make it feel like she can focus a little bit more on getting better, and he can focus on those babies and her health and keeping his head screwed on straight, this is what we need to do.
Yeah. Also bringing me to the main event, Saturday, March 30th, 2019, we are doing a extra life level event, strictly dedicated to this. We are going to be broadcasting for some amount of time that I haven't figured out yet. But we're going to be doing it all day. It's going to be a big, huge event. And I cannot state how happy I am that we finally were able to get something taken down, or something hammered down, that we're actually starting able to get this off the road and get to work on this project. It is a big deal for us, and it's just something that they didn't know, they didn't ask me to do this. This is something that Rachel and I thought of because this is something that we need to do. So yeah, and if you're trying to get the word out there, and if you're not comfortable with the swears, and that's fine, I understand. You can also go to geek-io.net/fcancer or geek-io.net/fightcancer. Each of those go to the same GoFundMe page. That will be the major focal point going forward into the big March 30th event. We'll probably be doing a live exploding dice because that's something we do on our live events. That also eats up several hours of the day, makes it go by a lot easier. So yeah, that is. He was supposed to be on the show, but yeah, he messaged me. He's like, I am completely and utterly beat. I'm like, no, but we want to surprise you. But that's fine. I understand. Being a dad normally is hard, much less when you're doing it alone and needing to juggle everything.
So yes, if I'm actually going to share this on my own personal Facebook because we've watched Vicky just take this on, and her babies are younger than Kiara and Aaron. And Ollie and Gio are stinking freaking adorable, and there is no way I am okay with these two babies feeling or growing up feeling like this is their norm with mom in the hospital, and that's not okay for me. Mama needs to get better. Mama needs to be able to not stress and worry about everything going on at home. So if we can help in any way, shape, and form, let's do it.
Absolutely. And if you can't donate, that's fine. Get the word out, spread it on social media, whatever you can possibly do. That is outside of obviously donating directly, that's the number one way that you can help us. And again, not getting a single dime out of this. This entire thing goes to them. The only people getting dimes out of it is GoFundMe. And they're getting approximately a nickel. All right, guys. On that note, that is where we're going to wrap up. Thank you for sitting through some of the sappy stuff. Greatly appreciate it. It's super important, though. If you want to listen to us live, Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/GeekIO show. Drop your die down on that love button and get notified when we go live. If you want to email the show, go show@geek-io.net, Twitter, Facebook, all of those /GeekIO show. If you want to call us, you can do that as well. 727-489-4335. That is 727-489-GEEK. Remember that we do have a Discord. Head over to geek-io.net/Discord to hang out with us. And if you want to support the stream and everything that we do, go over to patreon.com/geekio. As low as $1 a month, get you an ad-free master feed of what's going on here on the Geek IO network. Hey, Bryce.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Where can people find you at on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at Brycas, Brycas, and I have a new podcast called Trending Lemon, trendinglemon.com, or Trending Lemon on all of the podcast directories. It's a show where we talk about some of the new weird things that pass for news nowadays, and take some BuzzFeed quizzes to learn about each other. So
I absolutely enjoy this so much, by the way.
Thank you. We actually just recorded one just before I hopped onto this call, which was really great. So please check it out. Trendinglemon.com does come out on Wednesdays.
It sounds like you actually are having a ton of fun on it, and that is a major thing for me.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun because there's something about these quizzes being usually nonsense or often just bad that I think gets people's guard down and lets them open up and it's partly an interview show, so you kind of get a little bit about what makes people tick in different ways. Different people come on and kind of have different reactions to it, and it's interesting to see where everyone sort of organically opens up on.
Nice. Anywhere else that you want to point people to?
Sure. If you're here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Night Attack is where the podcasts that I work on are live streamed. I also do some of my own personal streaming there occasionally when I when I get the time. So yeah, Night Attack, all one word here on twitch.tv.
Absolutely. We don't know what's coming up next week, so we're not going to talk about that. And even though I'm talking about that in the show notes, I know not a lot of you guys are talking about the show notes right now. So we should play the thing. We're not. There we go.
Now it's time for the Geek IO Winter Movie Smackdown update.
All
He
right.
might not be here, but he's here in spirit.
Yes. So I think we are ending next week. I think this is about it. We got to start talking about the summer one because Jesus. Isn't It Romantic and Alita Battle of the Uncanny Valley are ending their run this week. Entering second week is The Rhythm Section by Dale. We have nobody starting because I think we are out of movies. All right. I don't see this changing much in the next week or two, but Dale is in first place, edging his fourth recorded victory closer and closer with his $52.5 million. I am in second place. Thanks, Uncanny Valley anime live action movie with $43.3 million. Raul is in third place with $29.8 million. Rachel's in fourth place with $18 million. Josh is in fifth place with $12.8 million. And Carrie bringing it up as we need a very powerful base with $8.4 million. Josh, what's going on the Geek.io network?
Well, we had we dropped a couple gears, a lot of gears, so many stripped gears. With Raul and Mega Man 11 on Liquid Handicap. We had some smashing going on.
Texas smashing.
Indeed, the Texas Smash. With Gamer Geeks this past week. Apparently there was some kind of little anniversary-ish thing with that other show that happens on Mondays that
say it. Say it, or I'll rip your anime show off the ground.
So yeah, it was the 100th episode of Small Screen Spoiler Show. Not my favorite SSSS, but that's neither here nor there.
Better than a bad one.
Listen, you're wrong and that's okay. But yeah, it was their 100th episode, so they did a lot of 100 episode related things.
We did.
Forgot and I guess it was a fun time. There was no cake, so.
Yeah, there was a cake. There was absolutely a cake.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't.
Distinctly remember cake.
And that's it. Nothing else happened this week.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
Oh, but there was those weird ass wannabe police people doing their would-be gatewatch thing, doing the drugs, and totally to make sure that they're actually drugs so they can get them off the street, and not at all for personal enjoyment.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Pixie sticks, yo.
Yeah,
Pixie sticks.
Delicious.
Bryce looks so confused.
The Gatewatch begins their first investigation, but first, lunch. That delicious, delicious marma. But unfortunately, some people are marma intolerant. We can, paint a picture on the wall. A group of reluctant fans trying to find their way to a place where none of them know. Because, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and sometimes it's better to, duck into the bathroom and dye your hair. So this week on Exploding Dice Ravnica, we face the public transit system.
The greatest boss.
Goddamn subway hobos.
And Darth Maul juggalos.
Dun dun dun.
Indeed. All right, guys. Now is the time where we do show titles, and Carrie reads them by going over to by using the bang ad title command in our Discord in our Twitch chat. Head over to the link that is now in the chat to vote for titles. We don't have many this week. Why? How come?
Reasons.
Okay.
So we've got One Take CJ, Podcastination, Cat Mule, Shotgun Coffee, Wario Lands, Fallible but Fun, Meeting the Guy, and Everything is Wrong Until It's Not.
And yep, and we have a whole bunch of ones.
I also voted for Fallible but Fun, but I already voted for it, so I can't vote for it.
Yay, IP restrictions.
They work until they don't.
Oh, shotgun coffee taking off though.
Because I think we've all been there.
I mean, I haven't. I would die.
Yeah, please don't. I've had enough of being told you're not coming back to me, thank you.
I think shotgun coffee is what we're gonna call it. All right, guys. We will see you right back here next week. Take care. We love you. Be good to one another. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Will that be tall, venti, grande, or Remington?
Yes.
You have been listening to a Geek I.O. Media Network, LLC production. Would you like to convert that to pounds? Copyright 2019.
Up all night to get fun. Up all night to get lucky.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.